And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Let's get there. Hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share with family and friends because the stupidity, the nonsense, the chaos, it's just not going to stop. Now, here's something that we know. Trump cares a lot about symbolism. We saw it at his inauguration this year when tech oligarchs and billionaires basically filled up the entire main stage, while his most loyal MAGA members of Congress were shuffled off to the cheap seats. I mean, he's like to make powerful people and institutions bend to the knee. It's why he's gone after the media, why he's celebrating when CBS canceled Stephen Colbert and then paid millions of dollars to his presidential library fund over, I don't know, some standard 60 Minutes interview. It's why he's gone after colleges and universities like Harvard, NYU, and now Columbia, who recently announced a $220 million settlement with the Trump administration. I speak to my Gen Z reporter, Adam Mockler, who comes on Mea Culpa to share what his generation is making of all of this. Play the clip. Now, meanwhile, look, as somebody who's a student, the whole bit, I'd love to get your take on the recent $220 million settlement between Columbia University and the Trump administration. First and foremost, I'd like to know where the money's going to go, right? And I know it's over a 3-year payout, but they made a $220 million settlement, which to me exposes institutional failures in handling abuse allegations. You agree that this payout represents real accountability, or do you think that it's a financial band-aid to protect not just their prestigious reputation, but also the billions of dollars that they intended to get through government grants?
I would need to read the settlement, but the allegation is that they failed to protect their students against anti-Semitism?
Correct.
I think that there's probably some truth to that. Yeah.
By the way, it goes more than just anti-Semitism. It's about all of DEI in terms of which students are brought into the school. It's also about who the professors are, what the curriculum that they're teaching are, specifically to Middle Eastern studies.
It might overreach there. That seems like some executive overreach. Here's the thing. I've seen cases on campus of course, anti-Semitism or stuff like that. But the Trump administration is not prioritizing fighting anti-Semitism. I don't think that that is a priority on the Trump admin's list. I think that, in fact, Trump has dined with Nick Fuentes. Even if you want to say that's an accident, that's an accident. You can say that. But I feel like Trump has fed into some anti-Semitic conspiracy theories in the past. So I'm not sure the admin is totally focused on that. I think that they just want to flex their executive power. I think that when they're suing Columbia, attacking Harvard, when Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal, it's just to try to flex and see how much the executive branch can do. Should the president and the executive branch be able to change the faculty hired by Columbia, what's taught by Columbia in the courses? I don't think so. I don't think the government should have anything to do with that. In the same vein, I don't think the government should be able to, in a top-down way, have DEI policies enacted at institutions. But, I mean, here's the thing. When I first read about some allegations of anti-Semitism, this was under the Biden administration, so this had nothing to do with Trump. I mean, those are probably true. There's probably some things that are happening, but the Trump admin is using this to try to change what they're teaching. That's way too far. The president shouldn't be able to change what a university is teaching, in my opinion.
Or the curriculum in and of itself. I mean,
yeah,
I truly don't understand the point here. And while sure, you know, there's anti-Semitism everywhere, right? And so, yeah, okay, you want to start with the schools. I get it, but I think the manner to which all of these acts by this administration against, you know, whether it's Harvard, Columbia, you know, any of these elite institutions, I'm with you on that. I think it goes too far. And I'm also going to turn around and make a pretty bold claim on behalf of Gen Z. They don't appreciate this shit.
No.
Right? Now, if you don't like the course as a student, don't take it. It's that simple, right?
Yep.
Just don't take it. You know, in your math class, there is no anti-Semitism.
Nope.
Right. I mean, unless, of course, the teacher is let's just say, a card carrying Nazi. Right. And if your last name is Cohen, you're going to get an F, even if you get the formulas right or you get the answers right. You're not talking about math or, English or, whatever. These are specific Middle Eastern courses that are being taught. There are degrees in Middle Eastern studies. They don't want it to be taught by individuals who they think are corrupting the minds.
It reminds me of
poor
when
Gen-Zers.
It reminds me of when they were attacking critical race theory too, which is a legal framework that should be taught in advanced schools where it's just a framework of looking at things, right? Rather than what they thought, which is like second graders learning that white people are intrinsically evil. So I am going to take the opinion that college campuses are actually where you should be having these conversations, where you should be having these controversial conversations. I'm not saying that we should have like actual Nazis on college campus or people like that, but that's where you have these discussions and you disagree and you say something dumb in class because that's a safe environment where you can then be taught by a teacher like what the actual logic is there. I mean, I said a lot of dumb things when I rose my hand in college classes. So I just think that college should be a place where you can learn new things, say dumb things, have debates, and be wrong. And when the Trump admin tries to remove courses or in a top-down way change the curriculum, that stifles the type of debate that creates a really strong, critical next generation.
Yeah, I agree with that. By the way, I'm just curious where that $220 million settlement is going to go because, if you're talking about anti-Semitism, the basis for this withholding of government grants to Columbia or to Harvard and so on, well, shouldn't then maybe the Jewish students who were unable to get to class because they were being blocked by these protesters, shouldn't there be some compensation to them? Shouldn't there be, maybe maybe a nice donation to the Chabad at the school or maybe to the Hillel organization or something? I'm just not really sure. Great, you got a settlement.
That would make too much sense. Why don't we just use it?
What's the settlement for?
We could also just reallocate it to abuse minorities at Alligator Alcatraz. It would make too much sense to help students.
I mean, I totally get it. How about just like pay off a whole bunch of student debt? What about all of the racism that goes on? One of the things that, and I'm totally taken back from it, where in the South, they have made moves to restore names and to put back up statutes of individuals who were, let's just say, pro-slavery. All right. Robert E. Lee, as an example, right? Do you know how many schools in America had the name Robert E. Lee? How many Robert E. Lee high schools, junior high schools, lower schools all bore his name on it? Like 240. So imagine if you're a black student and you're attending and getting a degree from a person that didn't believe that you were even human enough to have rights. How about rights not to be abused, to be beaten, to be killed, to be hung, simply because they felt like it?
It's also just not patriotic. How can you say you're a patriot when you're waving the flag of a country that was like, I'm going to actually declare war on the United States. I'm going to try to take over the United States. It's the opposite of patriotic. And people can use the heritage argument, but the heritage of what? Like it's all thinly veiled racism, or it's a way to say that you think white people are superior without saying that. I mean, even in high school, when I had friends waving Confederate flags, sure, my 14-year-old, not like friends, but I went to high school in Indiana. So inevitably I would talk to people who are Trump supporters. When I saw like a 14-year-old waving a Confederate flag, I was like, this dude doesn't even understand what he's waving. He's going to grow up his entire life ignorant of what he's standing for right here. So I would always have these conversations and try to like talk to them about it. But yeah, it is thinly veiled racism. And I think I used to want to be charitable and say the MAGA movement or large portions of it, like let's say the center-right independent Republicans weren't on board with a lot of the racism or stuff. But I really do think after watching that Mehdi Hassan Jubilee, did you watch that at all? Any of the clips from Mehdi Hassan
No,
debating him?
no,
Oh,
I
it's
didn't.
insane. He debates all these far-right people. And like a lot of the Republican Party could be taken down a very dark path very easily. They already have been, but I think it could get a lot darker when it comes to racism and everything. And I think that Trump's claim to fame back in 2012 was like birtherism, right? And since then, I'm not sure it's gotten any better.
Yeah, I mean, I see it just as a method of trying to rewrite, a cultural narrative. But since we're talking about a cultural narrative, let me just say, did you obviously hear about the renaming of the Kennedy Center Opera House?
Yeah, to the Melania Trump.
Yeah, it'll be the Melania, which I just find to be, an incredibly provocative move that this administration is taking to blend politics, culture, create a legacy. Let me ask you this question. Take that, add it to all the other things that we're seeing going on right now. What does this say about the current administration's approach to symbolism and historical memory?
They put a lot of emphasis on symbolism or branding or trying to make sure Trump is in history. There was that one tweet from Terry Moran, and remember it was about Stephen Miller. It said, Stephen Miller is nourished by hatred. It's all it means to an end, to hate more. But Trump's hatred is a means to his own glorification, basically. So all Trump cares about at the end of the day, mostly what Trump cares about is his own glorification. So I think you can use that framework and look at a lot of the actions this admin is taking and see that he's just trying to glorify himself. I mean, naming the Opera House after Melania Trump, that's self-glorification. They make jokes about putting him in Mount Rushmore, self-glorification. I genuinely think he's desperate to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. He has been, not because he actually cares about Europe or Eastern Europe. I think he wants to be known as the peace president. He wants self-glorification and he wants to be able to end all wars, not because he cares about wars, but because he wants to be known as a guy who did it. And I think part of the reason why he wanted to take over Greenland at one point was because he wanted to be known as one of the few US presidents who expanded our territory or was able to broker a deal to expand territory. So it's symbolism. A lot of it is symbolism, trying to make sure that he has a place in history. But in doing so, it could backfire. I mean, in 20 years, if it's named the Melania Trump Opera House, whatever it's supposed to be called, and the MAGA movement ended up fizzling into something very dangerous and terrible, I don't know, it could backfire.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look, at the end of the day, he wants to be on Mount Rushmore. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants them. In all fairness, like most people would say, yeah, listen, it's nice. It's nice to get. But because Obama got it, because other people, he wants the Nobel Peace Prize for his own ego, which of course is why, he wants to see Russia, Ukraine come to an end, why he wants to be the guy who brings back all the hostages. I mean, all of this was supposed to be done in 24 hours. And look, I'm not faulting. I applauded him and Witkoff and the administration when they returned the very first hostage, let alone 100 hostages. At the end of the day, I don't even want to imagine as a parent what it must feel like to have, your child or a loved one, be held hostage by an enemy combatant group. I can't even imagine. So I applaud him for that. And I don't really care if his entire motivation is predicated on having his face on Mount Rushmore or getting a Nobel Peace Prize. Just accomplish it. All right. And accomplish it quick. Because right now, as he says all the time, thousands of people are dying every single week. Right. Let's try to ultimately do the right thing. And let's try to do it, hopefully, for the right reason. Sometimes it doesn't really matter, right? But as long as you accomplish, the ultimate task. But my God, we are right now in an environment that is just rife with misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, weaponized truth. And unfortunately, it's going to be your generation that's going to have to figure out how to fix this shit.
It's getting really bad, especially with how much AI is accelerating. I mean, I see reels in my Instagram feed where all the comments believe it. And I know that it's AI. And I'm like, you guys really believe this? Disinformation is bad. The president of the United States in a top-down way is spreading the disinformation. For all the faults for Biden's presidency, whether it's his age or whatever you want to say, never once did he post an AI video of the former president being arrested. Like, Republicans' heads would explode if Biden would have randomly tweeted out. Like, imagine how Scott Jennings on CNN would react. Like, if Biden would have tweeted something like that out. But when Trump tweets it out, it's not even a blip.
Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.